Hello students. Today we are going to discuss about different keys in SQL under the subject Database Management System. First we can see the types of keys here. There is a big list. We will see the keys one by one. So first we come to the super key. Super key is a set of an attribute which can uniquely identify a tuple or a row in a table. Super key is a superset of a candidate key. For example, we can see a table here, right? That is employee table. It has attributes like employee ID, employee name, etc. So here we know that, for example, if we take employee name, any two employees can have the same name, but the employee ID can't be the same. Hence, this combination can be considered as a key. I can say that employee ID alone is a key. Employee ID combined with any other IDs here is again a key. Even if we are talking about super keys, we can take any other attribute here and make a combination. So for example, in this table, employee ID alone, employee ID combined with any other attribute, employee ID combined with any other combination of attribute, everything is a super key. Other than that, we have passport number, which is alone a super key. Again, any combination with passport number can also be considered as a super key. Same thing goes for license number, SSN number also. After super key, we are coming to the concept of candidate key. Now, a candidate key is a minimal super key, that is, it is the smallest subset of a super key. Every attribute in a candidate key is necessary for its uniqueness. What is the meaning of this line? Now, if we take the example of the super key which we discussed before some time, that is employee ID and employee name. So, employee ID together with employee name can be considered as a super key. Now, if we are taking each and every attribute in it, is it necessary for its uniqueness? Let us remove employee name first. Can employee ID alone be a key? Yes, it can be. So in that case, a combination of employee ID and employee name cannot be taken as a candidate key. That's why we say that candidate key is a minimal super key. Multiple candidates key may exist within a table. For example, in this particular table which we are discussing here, employee ID, passport number, license number, SSN, all are alone candidate keys. Okay. Now we come to the next one more thing. A super key with no redundant attribute is known as candidate key. Candidate keys are selected from the set of super keys. The only thing we take care while selecting a candidate key is that it should not have any redundant attribute, right? Candidate key is also termed as minimal super key, like I have discussed a while back. The next type of key is a primary key. Now, a primary key is the key which is used to identify one and only one instance of an entity uniquely. An entity can contain multiple keys, as we saw just before some time, right? That in this table, there are multiple candidate keys, right? Employee ID alone, passport number alone, license number, SSN number, all of these can be considered as candidate keys. Now, we can say that any one of the candidate key can be chosen as the primary key. So it is based on the requirement, based on the developer. Okay, the selection of primary key is based on that. So any candidate key can be taken as a primary key. Now, what about the keys which are left out? Now, we have selected a set of candidate key here. Suppose we have selected the employee ID as our primary key. What about the rest of the candidate keys then? What about passport number, license number, SSN? All these are supposed not selected. Okay. Now a database administrator chooses any one candidate key as the primary key. What happens to the remaining candidate keys? They become alternate keys. So an alternate key is a secondary key in a database table that uniquely identifies records. It is used when the primary key is unavailable or unsuitable. For example, just now I said to you that in employee table, which is shown here, you can see that suppose employee ID is chosen and or is it has been thought of as the best suited for the primary key. Rest of the attributes like SSN number, passport number, then license number, all these can be considered as candidate keys. So you can think it like this, that all the candidate keys are suitable to become primary keys, but they could not become, some could not become, right? Those are called alternate keys. Coming to the next type, that is composite key. Now a combination of two or more better describes the word composite, right? Thus a composite key in DBMS is a candidate key that is composed of two or more attributes and is capable of uniquely identifying a table or a relation. Now a key that has more than one attribute is called a composite key. Composite key can also be called compound key. Please keep in mind that composite key must be a candidate key. For example, in this table which you can see here, the composite key is cust ID, order ID, product ID together. Why we are saying together here? Suppose I take the example of cust ID. Cust ID cannot be alone considered as a key because it is getting repeated here. Can I consider order ID alone as a key? No, because it is also repeated here. What about the product ID? No, again it is repeated. So all these three combined is acting as a key. And since there are more than one attribute there, we can call it as combination of two or more, or as a composite key. Now coming to the foreign key. Now a foreign key is a column or group of columns in a table that links it to another table. Foreign keys are used to control the data that can be stored in a table. A foreign key links the primary key of one table to the column or columns of another table. This creates a foreign key constraint also, right? Which is a rule that prevents incorrect data from being added to the foreign key column. Let us see one example here. Here we can see two tables, okay? In the employee table, employee ID is the primary key. In the department table, department ID is the primary key. Now when you are creating both the tables, okay, see once department ID, that is the primary key of the department table, is also included in the employee table. What is this department ID in the employee table? This is a foreign key. Just before one slide, I mentioned in the last point here that this creates a foreign key constraint, okay? Why? Because we have to follow certain rules if we are creating a foreign key. For example, here among these two tables, department table should be created first. Why? Because department ID, that is the primary key of the department table, is acting as a foreign key in some other table, okay? So always department table should be created first. One more thing, the department ID being the primary key in the department table will not be repeated in the department table, right? After we insert values in the department table, we can insert values in the employee table too. Okay, another constraint. One more constraint, in the department table, the values which I have mentioned in under the department ID column can only be included in the department ID under the employee table. So here under the employee table, department ID cannot have a value which is not there in the department ID under the department table. So I hope foreign key concept is also clear. So if you are working with foreign key, you have to follow certain rules. Okay. So I hope this particular concept is clear now. Thank you, students.